Is what's happening right now in Israel, is that an apartheid? Is that an occupation? Miko, do you want to start? And then I'll go to Joseph.
Israel is an apartheid state. I mean, anybody who's been there, I've lived there, I know it. I mean, I remember seeing the differences between the way Israelis and Palestinians live. I mean, and if nothing else, Israel passed a law that says that only Jews have the right to self-determination throughout all of historic Palestine, which of course is really the final codifying, if you will, of the apartheid state. But the only way to have a state for Jews in an Arab country is through an apartheid state. And so from day one, Israel established a state in which Jewish people had rights at the expense of Palestinians. And Palestinians, there's no place in Palestine, there's no area in Palestine at all in which Israelis and Palestinians have the same rights. Israelis are privileged, Jewish people are privileged at the expense of Palestinians. So there's no question whatsoever that the state of Israel is an apartheid state.
Joseph?
Okay. It's very interesting, Miko, that we're on here to debate and you won't address any of my questions. That suggests cowardice and a lack of spine and absolutely no answers. But to address the apartheid smear, no, you said you're not going to speak to me, so allow me to speak.
It's not a debate. I just want to clarify to the audience, this is not a debate. You're interviewing me, you're interviewing him. There's no debate. There's no dialogue here. I don't dialogue with racists. And so there's no debate.
But I told you before that it's going to be a panel. It's going to be a debate.
Panel is fine. Debate, no. This is not. I'll answer your
question. Okay, Miko, fine.
Nothing between him and I.
Yeah, you're right. You're a weak-kneed Jew.
Joseph, do you want
it's time to end this. This is not going to work.
Yeah. So to address the apartheid channel while Miko runs.
This guy can't. He's a bully. He's a brute. I've met him before. I know what he's capable of, and I don't see the point of this conversation.
Okay.
Unless you want to manage it differently.
I did
okay. For the sake of your podcast, Ali, I'm happy to address you and just go back and forth, and I won't speak to Miko. If that's how we've got to do this, fine.
Let's try it and see.
Okay. So to address the charge of apartheid, it's absolutely absurd. So Israel has millions of Arabs who live within Israel over the western side of the Green Line, let's say, for simplicity. So not in areas A or B of the West Bank or Gaza. They have full equality with Israeli Jews. They hold political office. They vote in elections. Christian Arabs outperform any other religious group in education. There are Arab judges, as Miko well knows, because he's debated this many times, that have sent Jewish prime ministers and Jewish presidents to jail. In contrast, there is not one Palestinian Jew. Jews are banned from Palestinian citizenship under Article 6 of their national charter after they were ethnically cleansed by the Jordanians and the Egyptians in the 47-48 period. The charge that he brought up the nation state law, saying that Jews have the right to self-determination in the land of Israel. The Palestinian Basic Law, which was codified long before the nation state law, documents the same thing. It says that Palestine is the land for the Arabs. It's an Arab land. They literally have a mirror image. If you want to look at actual apartheid, if a Jew sells his house to an Arab in Israel, everybody's happy. They exchange contracts, they exchange properties, they exchange money. If an Arab sells his house to a Jew under the Palestinian Authority or Hamas, they face jail or death. Jail or death. And people have the audacity to describe Israel, where Arabs have complete equality with Jews, as an apartheid, and then they defend, which is what Miko does on a daily basis, the Palestinian Authority and Hamas, who actually enact a real apartheid. Why is there not one Palestinian Jew?
Miko, would you respond that to me, or would you respond to that?
I'm not sure what the question is. He's talking. I don't know what the question is.
Why are there no Palestinian Jews when there's Israeli Arabs?
It's an absolutely absurd question. There's no Palestine is occupied. You can say that all the Jews who live in Palestine are Palestinian Jews.
I mean citizens. Citizens I'm talking about. Why are there no Jews that hold Palestinian passports?
There is no Palestine. Palestine is occupied by Israel. This is a complete
Palestinian.
This is a complete nonsense. This is complete absolute nonsense. All of Palestine is occupied by the state of Israel. there is no Palestinian state, there is no Palestinian entity.
So there's no Palestinian Authority, no Palestinian citizenship, there's no Palestinians that pay tax to the Palestinian Authority, that this doesn't exist. So there's no such thing as Palestinians, you're saying?
No, I didn't say there's no such thing.
Okay, so why are there no Jewish if there are Palestinians, why are there no Jewish?
Before the Zionist occupation of Palestine, the Jews who live in Palestine had Palestinian citizenship. My parents had a Palestinian passport before the occupation of Palestine by the Zionists. And the Jews who lived there in generations before were all Palestinian Jews. And that's how they framed themselves. When the Zionist occupation took hold, then that changed everything. To pretend that somehow the Palestinian Authority is a state and to treat it as a state is complete. It's hypocrisy. It's nonsense. It's not even deserving a reply. The Palestinian Authority is nothing. It's a puppet government that operates for Israel. It's nothing. There is no Palestinian state, and therefore, and actually, when Palestine is free and democratic, once the apartheid state is dismantled, then all Jews who live in Palestine will be Palestinian Jews, and they will have equal rights and live free as all other religions will. But
Joseph, do you want to respond to that?
To somehow create a symmetry between the state of Israel and the Palestinian Authority is complete nonsense, because the Palestinian Authority is not a state, and they govern nothing. They have no authority whatsoever. So I mean, to pretend that there's somehow symmetry here is really, like I said, it's I don't know if it's ignorance or some kind of joke. I'm not sure, but this is nonsense.
Okay, so
do you have another question?
Can I respond to that?
You quickly respond, and then I'll move on to the next question.
Okay, so very, very quickly, I think this is very bizarre. So you accept that there are Palestinians, you accept that there's a Palestinian National Authority, you accept that they define what the law and they govern over the Palestinians. And my question is very simple. Why don't they govern any Jews? And the answer is because of Article 6 of their national charter bans Jews from being citizens. Article 6 of their national charter. You can deny that exists.
They have no authority over any place that Jews reside. The Jews took the cut. But you're creating this absurd reality as though there were Jews. It's the other way around. Israel took their land, built settlements for Jews only, and then said, okay, these little ghettos will be the Palestinian Authority. And so there are no Jews there because Israel took the land and built separately for Jews only, as the apartheid state has done throughout all of historic Palestine. So that's why there are no Jews in the Palestinian Authority, because the Palestinian Authority was created over ghettos of Palestinians. And even according to official Israeli, literature and so on, within the bureaucracy, it says that there are in what they call Judea and Samaria, which is what used to be the West Bank, they have, this is a part of Israel where Jews live, except for pockets of what they call an alien population. So to somehow say that it's the Palestinians' fault that the Jews don't live with Palestinians in equality is turning the whole thing upside down. Israel created the apartheid state. Israel created the segregation. Israel created the ghettos. Israel created the prison of the Gaza Strip. Israel is the one who's been segregating and again enforcing a brutal apartheid state from the very, very beginning. That's why there are no Jews who are Palestinians, because the state of Israel has taken over Palestine. Initially, the Jews who lived in Palestine were Palestinians, exactly like you say, until the state of Israel came and created the apartheid state and messed it all up and created this segregation where Palestinians only live on whatever limited land they're permitted. So this is more it's completely upside down.
So this is more civil conversation. I understand what you're saying. Maybe I'm not being clear. So from 47-48, the Jews were ethnically cleansed from the territories that Egypt and Jordan took control of. So I have friends who are living in the Gaza. They were ethnically cleansed. I have friends, they're obviously their parents, they're my generation. There were communities that were living in what you would call the West Bank.
Jews were ethnically cleansed in 1947, 1948?
Yeah. So I'll give some examples.
Really?
So there was a large...
Don't bother. You don't need to expound on this nonsense. It's nonsense.
Okay, since 1844, the majority population of Jerusalem was Jewish. When Jordan conquered the old city, there was not one Jew allowed to permit. The Jordanians enacted the law that banned... 2 seconds, Miko, 2 seconds. I did listen, and I'm trying to have a civil conversation. You can ridicule and you can mock.
There's no conversation here.
Fine. So there's no conversation. Let me address the audience. If there's no, and then you can correct me. You can correct the record. So the Jordanians took the old city of Jerusalem, which had a large Jewish community prior to it. They enacted a law which banned Jews from citizenship. It's the same with Shimon HaTzadik and Nachalat Shimon, the Yemenite village.
Israel evacuated the Jews from those places. That's not true. Israel evacuated the Jews from
Israel didn't exist in 47.
Zionist forces, first of all, the Zionist forces evacuated the Jews from these places where Jews had resided. You're right, Jews resided in Jerusalem.
I just want to get this straight. Are you seriously suggesting that the Jordanians did not drive Jews out of the West Bank? Is that your claim on record? Okay, comments, go to work. Miko is claiming that the Jordanians did not remove one Jew from the West Bank.
Miko, do you want to respond, or should we just move on to the next question?
There's nothing to respond to.